Assalamu alaikum guys, welcome back. Let's get into it.
Mr. President, thank you very much for doing this. Many Americans are afraid of Iran. You say you're not afraid, but Americans are afraid of Iran. And they believe that Iran would like to strike the United States with a nuclear weapon. They see video of Iranians saying death to America, describing our country as the great Satan. What is your opinion of that? Should we be afraid of Iran?
I believe that this is a very wrong impression that anybody might have of Iran or the Iranians. I would like to remind you that Iran has never invaded another country in the last 200 years. When they say death to the United States, it doesn't mean death to, they don't mean death to the people of the United States or even to the officials of the United States. They mean death to crimes, death to killing and carnage, death to supporting killing others, death to insecurity and instability. This is. Have you ever heard that an Iranian killing an American? Have you ever heard that? Or a terrorist that was Iranian and he carried out a terrorist attack against the Americans? No, it was your president who confessed that the Americans created the ISIS in our region, and they were responsible for this wrong image that is portrayed of religion or the Muslims in the world. And once again, I would like to tell you and remind you that this is not death to the American people or to the officials. Death to crimes and atrocities, to bullying, to the use of force, and anybody who would like to become an accomplice in the crimes perpetrated by others.
Who was the last president to control the CIA?
No one had actual control over the CIA.
Ever,
because most of the time, with one pertinent, horrible example, presidents have gone along with the CIA. Of course, the one horrible, shocking, disgusting example is John F. Kennedy, who famously said that he would like to take the CIA and tear it into 1,000 pieces. And maybe those were his last words, in essence.
Are you a Zionist? Well, I don't know how many people know this. My parents' family are Jewish, and we've got extended family in Israel. We feel this every day. I don't describe myself as a Zionist, but I understand and I sympathise and I support Zionism. So I wouldn't describe myself in that way. But of course, we have family in Israel, and that is part of my family.
I'm gonna pause it there. Are you serious? This guy is a Jew. Fair enough. I ain't gonna say anything bad about that. Fair enough, you're a Jew. But I don't know what to say, man. You're like they're in the same team. Joe Biden, he's an open Zionist. I think you're a Zionist as well. I'm just judging by your actions. You're supporting genocides. You're giving weapons. Come on, man. They're in a position of leadership. How can these people have control and they judge and dictate what we do? In the UK, you'll be sentenced for 14 years, possibly sentenced for 4 years, just as for Palestine. I want to say no coincidence. There's something going on, man.
قضوا حياتهم يا حرام عليه 40 نفر وين بده يعيشوا وين بده يسجنوا حرام عليهم حرام مثل اليهودي
Invitado, gracias. Fuera de aquí. Matas Palestina, vais a comer en Gaza. En Gaza hay cerveza buena. Nada. Fuera. Hijos de puta, matan gente, vienen a hacer vacaciones. Fuera de aquí. ¿Qué justo zapato? ¡Viva no! ¡Viva Palestina! ¡Libre! ¡Viva Palestina! ¡Libre! 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 Israelí. Sionista, fuera de aquí. Joder. La que servía a vosotros, hijos de puta. Perdón, señor. Pido disculpa.
I just want to add a little something that, even the regular people are getting deeply disturbed by what's going on in Gaza. That's why they're doing whatever they can. They don't want any Zionists in the store anywhere near them, to be honest. I just want to clarify, Zionism is not Judaism. Hope that makes sense. Zionism is not Judaism. Joe Biden, he's an open Zionist. I believe he's Christian. Just want to clear the fact.
What do you say to those who maybe agree with what you're saying, but also say that Jewish people need a strong Israel to be safe?
This is one of the arguments that the Zionists are using, that Jewish people suffered in the Holocaust. We are in exile for the past 2,000 years. It's about time for us to have a safe haven. And most of the time, this is religion is being used into these conversations. They are trying to use religion, some concepts of the Jewish religion, to justify this claim. But what one needs to understand is basically 2 points. First of all, this is not Judaism. According to Judaism, we are forbidden to create this so-called safe haven for the Jewish people. According to the very basics of Judaism, there's a concept of Jewish exile, which is a divine decree, which we are forbidden to end by any physical means, even if we find that this building a safe haven would be in our favor. According to our religion, this is forbidden. We accept the decree of God, whether it is comfortable or it isn't. We accept the word of God that we should not end this exile by any physical means, and we leave this up to God for Him to end our exile. This is exactly what Judaism teaches us, that it's only God Himself, that will bring the ultimate redemption, where all humanity together will serve the one God in peace and brotherhood. Zionism is forbidden. Safe haven is Zion.
You heard the man, this Jewish Orthodox Jew saying Zionism is forbidden in their religion. It goes against the teaching. You're gonna call him anti-Semitic when he's a Jew? Come on. If your own people are saying that, we're just using the court and right back against you. Come on.
Palestine Action has been banned. Here's how not to be a terrorist.
Can I be a member of Palestine Action?
Bad idea. You could go to prison for 14 years.
Wait, okay, so can I still support Palestine Action if I'm not a member?
Nope. Over the weekend, around 25 protesters were arrested for holding signs saying, "I support Palestine Action." You can now get up to 14 years in prison for supporting the group.
An 83-year-old female priest being taken away from a demonstration.
The law doesn't have an age limit, whether you're 18 or 80. If you're supporting prescribed organisations, then the law is going to be enforced.
So what about my Palestine Action t-shirt?
Nope, wearing it now could get you 6 months in prison.
Okay, fine, I'll stick to my Free Palestine t-shirt.
Cool, that should be okay. But last weekend, there was a report about police telling 2 women in Lancashire to take their Free Palestine t-shirts off in case they were in breach of the ban. Here's the thing you need to get your head around. The ban gives the government sweeping powers to prosecute people for any action which might reasonably be taken as support for a prescribed organisation. In practice, the law will often be enforced by random bobbies on the beat. The legal ambiguity creates space for misinterpretation of the law, willful or otherwise. Campaigners are concerned that this means the way the law gets applied could be pretty random and maybe pretty racist. There's all sorts of potential for overreach and confusion. Several groups have similar names to Palestine Action but are not connected, such as a group called Greenwich Palestine Action, which appears to have changed its name on social media since the ban. This kind of guilt by association is no accident. Counter-extremism experts are already trying to draw links between Palestine Action and groups like Just Stop Oil.
Well, this is one of the really interesting features that we at Policy Exchange have been tracking, is the crossover between these groups.
Yeah.
And as an example, you'll remember the protest in London only last week or so by Palestine Action. And what we saw there was a whole collection of groups that were involved in that protest. And certainly one of them was Just Stop Oil, so another sort of climate environmental group.
We can already see the chilling effect that banning Palestine Action is having on the Palestine movement. And maybe that was exactly the point.
The headline is chilling. IDF soldiers ordered to shoot deliberately at unarmed Gazans waiting for humanitarian aid. It seems everyone, including ordinary hungry civilians, are deemed to be targets.
The IDF is actually communicate the Gazan population by fire, by fired live ammunition.
As you saw right there, we're learning horrific new details about the IDF's recent conduct in Gaza thanks to a damning report from Israeli newspaper Haaretz. And as the journalist was saying right there, the IDF was ordered by their leadership to communicate with totally unarmed, peaceful Palestinians by firing at them with live ammunition as a policy going forward. And these details are horrific, the numbers are terrible, but we're gonna run through all of it because not nearly enough people are paying attention to this story anymore, particularly with what's going on with Iran. But the situation there remains as horrific as anywhere in the world, and the numbers are climbing every single day. And so these aid centers that have been the site of near daily massacres are run by the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. It's been in the Gaza Strip since May. It's an organization that was set up by Israel working with US evangelicals and private security contractors. It's staffed by American and Palestinian workers and then secured by the IDF from a few hundred meters away. And since they've opened just 1 month ago, there have been 19 different shooting incidents there. And according to the Gaza Health Ministry, 549 people have already been killed in just 1 month near these aid centers, just waiting for food, the small amount of food that is allowed through when enough food exists for every single man, woman, and children there to be perfectly fine, but they don't let it in. And then when it comes in, you are risking your life every single day going to get it. Over 4,000 people have been wounded, and we don't know for sure what these numbers are. That's what it's believed. And those numbers are so insane. I mean, I was recently watching Andor, and they wanted to create a fictional scenario that would drill home how cruel and evil a regime was. And they had a smaller massacre than that. And that was enough for people to understand who the bad guy in that story was. And that number will be higher tomorrow, and it'll be higher the day after that. And if you're a Palestinian in the area, there's nothing you can do but continue to go to the place where you just might be murdered, because otherwise you and your family will likely starve to death. And so this is not just a series of accidents or miscommunications, as Haaretz reported. This is the policy. This is working as it is supposed to. According to officers and soldiers who served there, This is not just the people being murdered saying this. This is those serving in this area. The IDF fires at people who arrive before opening hours to prevent them from approaching, or again after the centers close to disperse them. Since some of the shooting incidents occurred at night ahead of the opening, it's possible that some civilians couldn't see the boundaries of the designated area. Others might have believed that worst case scenario, they would be told to leave, not shot by the military. And so a lot of miscommunications here, sort of understandably. One soldier said, "It's a killing field. Where I was stationed, between 1 and 5 people were killed every day. They're treated like a hostile force. No crowd control measures, no tear gas, just live fire with everything imaginable. Heavy machine guns, grenade launchers, mortars. Then, once the center opens, the shooting stops, and they know they can approach. Our form of communication is gunfire. We open fire early in the morning if someone tries to get in line from a few hundred meters away, and sometimes we just charge at them from close range. But there's no danger to the forces."
You heard that guy. How much proof you guys need? You get shot and killed just to grab a food. Come on, that's not right for anyone. So people just want to feed their families. Damn, it's just depressing seeing all this all over and over again, and no one's saying anything. We've got designers running the government and stuff. Come on. Anyways, I'm gonna end the video there. If you're new to the channel, please like, share, and subscribe. Assalamu alaikum.